Hello everybody, I'm Giancarlo.
My name is Erica, not Felicia.
And this is our review of...
Nautilus Industries.
That's right. I got nothing witty to say about this, like Nautilus Industries, like what can you, like, nothing. Erica?
I don't usually have anything to say anyway, so...
You're fired.
Oh. I got this far.
Players will take on the role of pioneers in the Nautilus world by mining for rare minerals in the ocean depths, buying stocks in company requiring those minerals, and controlling the price of those minerals with supply and demand. Each player will choose a player board with 3 of their matching subs and place a die with the one side face up in the warehouse capacity space. The randomly chosen first player will take the first player marker, place all the coins in their respective pool, and place all the stocks in their respective pile with the stock value showing. Lay out in the middle of the table mining tiles equal to the number of players. Randomly place the order chits on the corner and then flip them up. Place all gems in the bag and draw 5 for each tile, placing them in their respective spaces. Now count each same colored gems on all tiles and place the same colored cubes on 6 on the commodity value chart for the least common, 5 for the next least common, and so on. If gems tie, place them on the same space. Lastly, in the stock chart, place each colored cube on the first space. You're ready to play. End the game with the most money and you'll win.
Each turn consists of 3 phases in this order: action, market, and upkeep. This is also conveniently listed on each player board. During the action phase, players will take 3 actions. In turn order, each player performs 1 action. They may also choose to repeat previously done actions. Placing a sub will let you play the sub token on a mining zone next to a gem. This will mean you'll be mining 2 gems in the coming phase. Also, when playing a sub, you may choose to upgrade it. To do so, pay $5 when placing it and choose a gem of any color from the bag, placing it on the sub. Later on, you'll also mine a gem of this color should there be any left in the mining zone. The upgrade warehouse action will let you move the die on your player board to the next highest number to a maximum of 6. This cost is free, but requires you to take that action. Switch gem action lets you move a gem from a mining zone and exchange it with another gem from a different mining zone. Place them in their respective space. A player may also choose the action switch mining zone order. They'll take 2 unlocked chits, switch them, and flip them to their locked side. Lastly, a player may choose to purchase stocks. They can also choose any type stock and any numbered share, as long as they can pay the cost listed at the bottom right corner here. Yes, we initially had trouble seeing them too. When all players have taken 3 actions, we move on to the market phase.
This phase will happen on the mining zone with the chit order number 1 first. Players will first collect commodities. Minerals are always collected with the gold first and going clockwise. You can also see the order as indicated by the number in the banner for the mineral. When a sub collects the gems, it'll take 2 of that gem or less depending on how many are available. If it was upgraded, it'll take a gem of that color on that tile provided there's one there, regardless if it passed or is before the usual turn order. When done, the upgraded gem used to denote the color on the sub is returned to the bag, and the player takes his sub back on his player board. When all mining is done, players, in turn order, decide which gems to sell and or store. For each gem sold, the player will receive money equal to its commodity value. Place the sold gems next to that area here. You may also store any number of gems as long as you don't go over your warehouse capacity. When all players had a chance to sell, we adjust stock and commodity values. For each corresponding gem type sold, you'll decrease its commodity value that many spaces to a minimum of 1. If none of the type of gem was sold, increase its commodity value by 1. Then adjust the stock chart. Unlike commodity value, these values never go down. When done, return all the gems sold in the bag. Now repeat the market phase for the next mining zone. When done, we move on to the upkeep phase.
Here, players will draw 5 new gems for each of the mining zones. The first player marker goes to the next player clockwise, and a new action phase begins. The game end triggers when a stock reaches the ×10 multiplier. Continue adjusting the commodity and stock value for the current mining zone as normal. For any other zones not yet resolved, collect commodities as normal. Without adjusting their values any longer, each player sells all their gems. We then go to final scoring. Each player multiplies their total shares with the corresponding value, totals them all up, and adds all their cash. The player with the most wins.
Okay, so Nautilus Industries obviously is a Euro game, but that's not to say there is no theme. Quite the opposite, the game has quite an original one. The artwork from the player board and stock certificate really captures it and the era. However, what we didn't like so much was the design choices made. We couldn't figure out, and we were four of us, how buying stocks worked. We kept thinking the cost was the value of shares. It was actually this number here that looked like it was part of the background artwork. Another example is the components. They themselves are actually quite good, but how do we fit these cubes on the stock chart track? We thought we had the wrong components as the rulebook showed different ones here. Speaking of components, the count is off as well. Either our copy was missing nitronium gems, or they're meant to be rarer. We're not sure, and the internet didn't shed any light on this. Moving on to gameplay. The mechanics are fine, but they are not without problems. First off, it's very tedious and finicky with every market phase, putting the gems next to the board, counting them, moving the values of commodities in stock, wash, rinse, and repeat. Secondly, it didn't really offer any surprises, occasionally when someone switched the chit mining order. But it wasn't really fun enough for us to be invested in the game. Of course, we continued and played a few games, but that sense of repeating the same action was constantly there. It felt more like an accounting or math class than a game. And that, coming from us who prefer Euro games, says a lot, making replay value very low. Play it a couple of times and I'm pretty sure you'll get bored very quickly. Both games, the scores were very, very close between all players. But in this case, it wasn't so much as players doing the right thing, but the game taking its course. Tactically, even though there's choice, there's really two essential actions you need to do. Buy as much high-value stock and as fast as you can, and play your subs. Our 4-player game had almost all stock pretty close to the end of the chart. Simply put, the more multipliers you have, the more points you'll score. One of the few games I was looking forward to play this year, but sadly it left us disappointed. Nautilus Industries gets a 5 out of 10.